Hello and welcome to the Giraffe Social Media Podcast. It's what social media managers are talking about. I'm Caitlin McKenzie and today I'm joined by some brilliant members of the Giraffe team. We've got social media manager Nicole.
Hi.
Senior social media manager Dom.
Hello.
And social media assistant Chloe.
Hi.
Today's group chat episode is called the Ultimate Social Media Manager Toolkit, and in it we're going to be talking about our top tips, our tricks, our techniques and tools and plugins and all that jazz that we use on the daily to help us with our clients and just general social media work. But before we get started on all of those, I don't think we can really do like a social media podcast without maybe talking about this, but have you guys seen that Donald Trump has been banned from like every social media platform ever?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yes.
It really is. It obviously all came off the back of the riots that happened in the US Capitol last week. We obviously don't need to go over those details. This isn't a news podcast. Other people can report it much better than we can. But the social media activity that Trump carried out around that time obviously led Twitter to make the decision that he was violating their standards, because he's had his tweets like regulated before, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
He had like the misinformation tags and the stuff they stick on content, which I know he wasn't very happy with at the time, but obviously things have reached a point now where he's decided that the platform's decided that he violates the content, and so they banned him, and pretty much every social media platform ever has followed suit. I think like Snapchat have banned him, TikTok's banned him, or like other like really random ones like OnlyFans. I saw on Twitter that he'd been banned from OnlyFans. I don't think he had an account, but
let's hope not. Let's hope he didn't create one either.
But yeah, he didn't actually even have a TikTok account, but apparently, well, I've seen a great headline from fortune.com, which is TikTok banned Trump before Trump could ban TikTok. Because I don't know if you guys remember on like way back when in the summer we were talking about this, and there was lots of talk around TikTok potentially being banned. I know it's banned in India, but it's going to be banned in the US because of links to China and various data concerns, and it was it was a big thing at the time, but now I guess the joke's on Trump potentially, because TikTok, I think the story goes that obviously Trump doesn't have a personal TikTok account, but TikTok's restrictions on the president fall in line with actions by Twitter, Facebook, Instagram and Snapchat, which have all suspended his actual accounts. But what they've done, I think, is remove videos of Donald Trump speaking, and also like ban certain hashtags associated with him, which I think is like very interesting, because how do you
moderate that?
Yeah,
like the amount of people that could easily just save the video of him speaking, any video of him speaking, just post it on their personals. Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing that he's been banned from everything, and I mean, it'd be weird if he did suddenly create a TikTok and was able to be on the platform, because
yeah,
who knows
definitely.
what we'd be seeing from him.
Doing the dances and stuff, maybe. A lot of people are calling it like silencing though, and like sort of censorship, which I'm really keen to get your guys' opinion on, because obviously like these are private businesses, right? Like Facebook and Twitter and stuff aren't like public services. They are a private business with terms and conditions and like rules and like community regulations. So I don't think it's silencing, like if he's breaking the rules. I don't know, I'm just really curious if you guys what you guys think.
I agree with you. I think the TikTok thing's a little bit weird. I think it's strange that you can kind of pick and choose videos of Trump like that you can delete from the platform, because essentially then you kind of are like, you kind of want to have a bubble in your social network where you can hear all points of view, and while Trump's are sometimes just stupid, I think it's one thing to kind of delete the man who's tweeting things purposefully, and then like deleting videos of him that may not necessarily even be kind of like hate speech. So I'm not so sure about that, but I'm definitely glad he's been kicked off everything else.
Well, he did go somewhere. There was an app which I think you guys maybe have or haven't heard of. It's kind of niche maybe, but I've seen it in the news a little bit, called Parler. I think that's how you pronounce it. I can't imagine it's like parlay. Anyway, it's basically they call themselves like a free speech social media network. So their selling point is like the moderation is completely different, and you can kind of say whatever you want. And what that's really created, I think, is a place where people can go to say things that will be moderated on other pages, or on other platforms, which, you know, isn't necessarily the best thing. So what's come out of that? So Trump's gone there, and lots of like Trump related people have all gone to this Parler app, and I've seen lots of politicians and quite right-wing people talking about it, saying like, oh, it's the only place that you can go. But what's happened now is the app/website has gone down pretty much indefinitely. Google and Apple removed Parler from the app stores because they said it had failed to comply with their content moderation requirements, like in the sense that they couldn't comfortably share this platform, which was allowing bad things to happen. They couldn't comfortably put it on their app stores, which is quite interesting. But you could still access it on the web, so you couldn't download that app, but you could access it on the web, which is and interesting. Apparently people couldn't create new accounts over the weekend. They were having issues. But what's happened now is Amazon Web Services, who are like the back of house, they host the website. I can't think of like an equivalent, almost like WordPress, but on a way bigger scale. They have withdrawn their services and I think terminated the contract. So the website now can't be hosted because AWS feel uncomfortable supporting, like creating this platform where negative things are being said. There's obviously loads of stuff flying around, but I do think it's interesting. Apparently they've made their concerns known to the Parler website over like a number of weeks, and they've seen a significant increase in what they call dangerous content, and not a decrease, which is what they'd hoped by making them aware of it. So they suspended their services on Sunday, just gone. So weird time in social media, like
Very weird.
Isn't it so weird though that like people are saying, oh, you can't ban him from every social media app, but it's like, well, you know, however long, like 50 years ago there wasn't social media and this wouldn't have been, like, isn't it funny that people feel like they physically can't function if they don't have any form of social media in their life? I think that's
100%. And also, like, I don't want to state the obvious, but like, he's not exactly being silenced. I mean, he has a press room in his house, so he's kind of okay. But yeah, you can see why people are saying like it's a mass silencing. But I suppose it comes down to like a business perspective. Like if you own Twitter and then something bad happens because someone on Twitter said, let's all go do this, and then that happens and something bad happens and you've allowed that message to be there, I think it's all about liability probably, as opposed to like censorship. I think it's more like, well, you'd have to hope it's for like the good of mankind, but I also think there's probably about like liability and stuff.
I think it's a really interesting time for social media, like all the politics that are coming out of it. Like, wasn't last summer Mr. Zuckerberg himself in some sort of courtroom arguing the case for like Facebook ads and possibly an influence on the election, things like that? I think they've come up with a bit of trouble, so there's no surprise that they're being a little bit more careful and taking this big stand, especially since he's, you know, coming out of office now. If he was staying on for another 4 years, maybe it'd be a different story. But yeah, I think they're able to do that. So, and like you said, Caitlin, like they're private businesses. If someone's violated the terms and conditions, like there's a reason why you can block people and report people. So,
well, yeah, any other user and it wouldn't be an issue, right?
Yeah.
Like, if it were you or I commenting those kind of things, you know, you'd be banned straight away. So.
Absolutely. And I think as people who run ads and like look after the social media of various clients, like we know full well how carefully you have to follow the rules. So I think it probably should just be one rule for all. There shouldn't be like an interpretation. It's really interesting, Nicole, you just made me think, like, I wonder if this would have happened if, like you say, he was going to be president of the most powerful country in the world, so to speak.
I was wondering what took them so long, like why now? It's not the first time he's said something outrageous, but I think you're right, Nicole. I think it's because he no longer really has a position where he needs to be on social media.
yeah.
Very interesting. Well, we can move on from our new politics segment to, you know, the meat of the episode, which is, of course, all of our like plugins and tools and stuff that we all use to help us in our day-to-day. So let's start with like web plugins. So these are obviously the things that you can go into like the Google Chrome store and, you know, equivalent, and find cool stuff to like plug in to the page that automatically runs while you're on Google Chrome. I know some people have like never used an extension or a plugin, and that's like super normal. So if you aren't using them, that's okay. But we just want to share a few of ours. So Chloe, I think you had a good one, right?
Yeah, so one extension that's really like saved my life, especially doing agency work, is Fontanello, which basically a lot of, clients obviously will have their own font that they use, but sometimes they don't get it across to you when you'd like to know what it is. So this extension allows you to go onto any website and you just hover your mouse across any text and it will tell you what font it is. So this is super helpful, like as I said, if a client hasn't gotten their sort of package details over to you, and then you can kind of source that for yourself off their website, which I really enjoy.
I feel like that would be really good for like competitor stuff, right? If you could find out what different fonts brands are using and like put that all together and maybe see if there's a trend. I need to use that. That sounds good.
Or maybe like if you wanted to, I guess, try and gain business from somebody, like if you really want to work with someone, you could maybe like do some mock-ups and stuff like with their fonts maybe, and like use that. Interesting.
Definitely, and mine leads in quite nicely to that because it's sort of similar but for colours. So my extension is called Colorzilla, colour as in the American version of spelling colour. And basically what it allows you to do, picture this, you're a social media manager, you have a client who has certain branding on his website or their or her website, and they don't know what the hex code is for their branding. They just never, saved it, which can happen. Working in agencies, these sort of things do happen. You can just literally have this extension and click on it, hover over a bit of colour, and it will tell you the hex code. Problem solved.
That is actually so cool, and I'd never heard of this, so I'm going to add this. And do you know how I think this will help me is sometimes, look, I'm not a graphic designer. I don't claim to be, so sometimes my head breaks a little bit with like color codes, because sometimes you get color codes that aren't hex codes, right? They're the other ones. They're like the RGB one. And there's another. So sometimes if I get them in that, I just sort of like I have to do the long way, like go the long way around, using like software and stuff to try and work out what the hex codes are for like Canva and stuff if I'm using that to edit. So I'm going to use that, Dom.
Yeah, I believe it gives you both versions as well. It'll give you the hex code and the R. Well, the R.
We can move on.
We should know.
Oh wow, I need definitely to try that. I was going to suggest Grammarly, which I think is just like godsend, super easy, because I know we're all typing things super quickly, whether it's a schedule or an ad copy. The plugin means it will just pop up like whenever you're writing text. You can have that on like Google Chrome or even on Word. I think it also works on Outlook, so if you're really quickly writing an email, it'll pop up if there's a spelling error. I think it's just super useful, and sometimes even suggest like other words, so it might pop up with a fun alternative if you're writing some ad copy. So definitely recommend that.
My favorite thing about Grammarly is it can tell you to like change your tone, or you can tell it, I want to come across like really nice, and then it'll say, Chloe, that is the most passive aggressive email you've ever written. So it's definitely helped me in more ways than one.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you can like adjust the goals. I am a grammar geek, so I actually have Grammarly Premium. Yeah, it's kind of a big deal. No, it's really useful. I really like it. I had it because of doing like university work, but I kind of just kept it for my own personal enjoyment this year. I need to get out more. Look, we don't spend it as much at the pub, so that's how I justified that. But Dom, you had a similar like Grammarly kind of suggestion, right?
Yeah, it's similar to Grammarly. It's called Quillbot. Again, it sort of is an extension, and you can like if you've got a bit of a sentence or paragraph that you're not sure of, you potentially want changing, rewording, you can literally just copy it and paste it into Quillbot, and it will help sort of like rewrite and enhance sort of any sentence and paragraph, and really it can help with like structuring it. And maybe adding additional words or phrases that you couldn't think of at the time, and it can sort of help with that. So it can be useful for like if you're creating schedules, emails, all sorts of things really, and it integrates directly into like Google Docs as well. So yeah, very very useful, similar to Grammarly, but yeah, it just helps you to potentially add extra words into structuring your sentences a bit more.
That's quite cool, because I don't actually think Grammarly works with Google Docs yet, so maybe it does, maybe I've missed a beat there, but I know for a while it didn't, so if that's still the case, that's quite a good reco. My extension, which I use on the daily, is very basically named Image Downloader. So I literally just found it because I was like, I need to download images from Instagram. I mean, I'm sure we've all come up across that. The first time we try and right click an image on Instagram, it's a struggle. But there's a few plugins that are very simple, which I use, and you can just click on your little extension thing and then download while you're on Instagram. I think the best practice is to open the image as a new tab, so it's the biggest one on the page, and then it downloads that one. But yeah, I find that super helpful.
Yeah, similar to kind of on that Instagram wavelength, my final plugin that I love to use is called Influencer Checker. And basically it just allows you to look at the engagement rates of certain all Instagram accounts, which if you do influencer marketing where you work is really, really good to know, because as we know, like, following numbers can be deceiving, and followers don't always equal like good reach and engagement. So that's a good sneaky one to download and just, have a little suss out before you work with anyone.
Is it just called Influencer Checker?
I believe it's got a really long name, so it's called Influencer Searcher Engagement Calculator.
Oh.
Which I'm sure there are shorter versions that you can download as well, but that's the one that I use.
I have one called WeFind. I think you're right. If you search into like the Google extensions bit and just search influencer engagement calculator, there's so many. I'm sure that one came up. But yeah, there's one called WeFind that's quite good. I think if you have like a premium account, you can put together like lists of all the influencers you've searched and engagement rates and stuff. But I just use the sort of basic one. They'd be quite useful.
The first thing that everyone's going to do is just type in their own and find out what their own engagement is.
Oh, of course.
Absolutely. So the next sort of section that I want to ask you guys about is websites. Are there any like cool websites out there that you like rely on like in your day-to-day working?
It's similar to the Influencer Checker. If you don't want to search for that ridiculously long name and download the extension, there is a website, and I use a website called tank.fr, and basically instead of just showing you engagement, you can search any user and it'll show you their following, their average number of likes, the average number of comments they get, their engagement rate. Again, it'll show you. So I guess if you kind of wanted a little broader view without paying for an actual like influencer app or program, this is a good place to go. And yeah, you can search absolutely anyone. I searched Lady Gaga, for example, just out of curiosity, see how I compared. So yeah, that's a really good one.
Awesome. There's a website that I use loads on my phone, to the point that if I type the letter I into my Safari, it's like IG line break caption editor like every single day, and I'm like, not right now, it's not. So basically it's super simple, does what it says on the tin. Like if I'm uploading maybe a carousel, or I'm like posting something like in situ but I want those line breaks, you can get it using this website. You can use it on browser or mobile, and you just pop in your caption as you want it to appear, and then click a button and it will copy it to your clipboard automatically, and then you can just paste it in. So it's quite handy to do. I know that we use scheduling software and stuff as well, which automatically does that, but sometimes if you don't want to pay for scheduling software that does that, it's an easy little alternative. Although sometimes when you view it on the computer, disclaimer, like I don't know who uses Instagram on the computer apart from social media managers, but you can sometimes see like a little mark where the thing that they've put in there kind of shows up on the computer, but not always. So yeah, that's worth noting, but I use that on the reg.
Nice. One thing that I use, and I'm sure every person who has ever used social media, or let's say is involved in social media marketing, Canva.
Yes, Canva.
The OG.
The OG. Canva is like the lifesaver for any social media manager who probably doesn't have the best graphic design skills, yet Canva is there, it's free. You can create really nice, beautiful content. It provides you with loads of different templates for social media, all formatted for each platform, no matter if it's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Instagram story. If you want to create a business card, a PowerPoint, a CV, anything, it has different formats for that, all sorts of different templates. You can add your own color brand into it, you add your own fonts, and it's perfect. Like I said, if you don't have Photoshop skills and you need something that's quick and easy and convenient, Canva is the one to go to. Obviously there is like a premium version which allows you to have more stock footage on there. You can use like more videos on there, and again, that is another thing actually that they've recently introduced, is being able to create videos on there, GIFs. So the amount of content you can create on there is pretty endless. Well, not endless, but there's a lot on there. And I'm sure you guys all use it for creating
religiously.
It's the best.
I think the best thing, which you touched on, but maybe some people don't realize, is that you don't have to create things from scratch. Like if you just genuinely have no brain power left, you can just search up and it will give you a post, and then you just edit the text, change the photo, and it's done. So yeah, I love Canva.
You'll know when it's a Canva design, like if you have it on social media, that's a Canva template. Yeah.
Absolutely, especially like those really popular ones. I know there's that one that's like a search bar. You can put your own text in it and your own background. I've seen so many brands using that, and I mean, no shade, like it's good.
Yeah. We've all been there. We've all ran out of ideas and used a template.
A feature I really like is the one you kind of mentioned, is like the ability to create GIFs and just animate really simple things. I think it's a really easy way to animate a good enough post, but if you animate it, wow,
exactly. And we know that video content can get more engagement than like a standard single image. So the fact that they allow you to add video content and like little stickers, little GIFs sort of things, it's really good.
Yeah, I think they're bringing like a lot of things under one roof for people like us. The fact like their stock photography, when you have like Canva Pro, is so good, and even there is some free stuff on there which is usable, but like I like that they're just taking steps out of my process. Like now that you can do a background remover on Canva, don't have to go and find a random website or do that on Photoshop. I mean, it's a bit hit and miss, but I'd say most of the time.
No, most of the time.
Remove them backgrounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a little logo that you need the background removed. Boom. Background remover done.
Boom.
You don't need Photoshop skills. It's done automatically for you. Oh, lifesaver.
Absolutely.
I forgot about that. Yeah, that's good.
Big Canva fans. Something that I use in conjunction with Canva sometimes, just if I'm working with maybe a more businessy client or someone that has like a website or an app they want to promote, is MockDrop. I think it's mockdrop.io or .com, but it's a super simple website. It has all these different templates of just basic like computer backgrounds or a picture of someone on a phone or a tablet. There's all different ones, and you can just drop a screenshot into it and it looks like they're looking at your website or app or whatever. It's really simple, and like you do have to fiddle around with it sometimes, but it's good. And then I just take the image that I've downloaded from that, drop it into Canva, zhuzh it up, maybe animate it, who knows. So that's a good one for me, MockDrop.
Yeah, I think it's good if you don't have those Photoshop skills to be able to add them. The only restrictions on it is that you do get a limited amount of images on there, don't you? But
I didn't realise.
Besides that, it is really good for quick and easy use of that. Yeah,
A good life hack.
Yeah.
Mine is a little bit different. Mine might help you or inspire you for creative ideas. It's the Facebook ads library, which I'm sure all of us have used, but it's just so good that there is a place where you can just search a competitor or any brand that you're interested in and see what ads they're currently running. It's definitely a lifesaver when you're doing any kind of analysis, and I know with a few clients that if you're suggesting a new ad type or you want to try something new, just showing them what their competitors are doing is a great way to maybe convince them to do that, because it can be a bit scary to try something new, so just seeing what competitors are doing are great. So yeah, the Facebook ads library is awesome. Definitely recommend that.
Yeah, I think it's very good too. And actually, I'm going to give you credit, Nicole, because you actually recommended something else to me the other day, is that you can do something similar on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Which I didn't realise. You know about it more than me, so maybe explain it.
Oh, it's super easy. I didn't even realise. I was trying to look for a similar website, but for LinkedIn. But it turns out when you go on any LinkedIn profile where it says like posts, images, whatever, there's also a section that says ads. And if you click on it, it will just show all the ads that the LinkedIn page is running. So that's sort of the equivalent. It's less, you can only see like the last few promoted posts or ads that they've done, but that's again super useful just for competitor stuff or just having a little peek at what other companies are doing.
Love that. Mine, I think we've mentioned it briefly in web extensions, but the website Instagram photo downloader has been an absolute lifesaver, and for some reason I've only just discovered it. Like, I don't know how I missed the boat there, but usually if I'm trying to repost some user generated content that hasn't been sent directly to us, like I just want to grab it from Instagram, I've been screenshotting like an absolute loser. And basically this website, you just go to the user's page, click the image, copy the link, paste the link, and it downloads like the image for you. If it's a carousel, it gives you the option if you want to download all or just one. If it's a video, like, where has this been? Guys, why has no one told me about this?
I can't believe you've been screenshotting. I'm sorry for your loss.
I know. And on carousels, I'm like, oh, it's so annoying that you can't get rid of the arrows and the little dots at the bottom. Like, how do people do this? So, like what the hell?
Oh, well, I'm sure maybe there's somebody out there whose life you've just saved.
Well, yeah, you're welcome. And I'm sorry.
I think there's also a similar website where you can download people's Instagram profile pictures, because obviously they're like super small, right? I mean, maybe you won't need that as much, but if you're looking at influencers and stuff and you're just trying to find their profile picture, I think it's called like image DP download or something like that, because it's just getting their picture, but it's the same, Chloe. You just like put in their link, download, boom. No like screenshotting and zooming in. It's pretty useful.
I'm learning so much today, guys.
To be fair, just to jump in, if you want to download like a video from YouTube, that's, let's say you got a client of yours that has video content on their YouTube account, but they don't actually have the video file of it, you can use this website called like Downverse. Well, I know there is like a load more if you just type in like free YouTube downloader. And you can just copy the URL for the YouTube video and download it, and then you have the file for it.
Nice.
That's cool.
There you go.
It's probably worth throwing in a little disclaimer, obviously. Only download things that you're allowed to use.
That's what I think. I would just download random stuff. Yeah.
you do you, but yep. Just I'd mention. Was there another website that you use, Nicole?
Yeah, I definitely recommend Asana. I think a lot of businesses use this, and I think there's another one called like Monday.com is a similar sort of task organizer. But I know like at Giraffe we use it, and it's really useful just for organizing different tasks throughout the day, or even reminding yourself, in a few weeks' time to do something. You can set reminders. You can sort of attach documents, all that good stuff. I definitely recommend something like that where you've got your tasks sort of online that you can look at, because I know I have a habit of writing lists down in many notepads that I end up losing. So having it online is very useful.
Yeah, it's a lifesaver. It helps me. Asana gets organised. Like you said, if you're writing down your tasks for the day, you can prioritise what's the most important. I like to list them like first as the high importance, and then obviously it goes downwards, and then you get that satisfaction of being able to like tick off your Asana task once it's done.
Well, not to mention the little celebration unicorn that flies across the page when you tick off. I don't know if you have that feature turned on, but it makes my day.
Of course. Wait, I didn't realise you could prioritise tasks. Am I missing a trick here, guys? I was like, if I need to do something in the morning, I like set it the time. But can you like prioritise?
Well, I prioritise it in terms of, for myself personally, I'll reorder it myself. Like I'll put Asana tasks that's most important at the top of my list, and then second, depending on how important it is to get done straight away, and I'll just work down that list.
I think it's nice as well that you can like move stuff so quickly and easily. Like you say, on a paper list, you have to rewrite it. But like sometimes if you have like a million things to do that day, it's helpful to just go on a bit like what absolutely has to happen today, and then like move everything else to tomorrow. And then when you actually get, if you get through the absolutely has to happen today list, then you can like look at tomorrow and move stuff back. And I just like how flexible it is. And something that I use it for religiously, that's what I find every time I do it, I'm like, oh, thank God for this. But like when you get a schedule of posts approved by a client, if there's polls in there, obviously, and things that you have to like post on the day because you can't schedule such things, setting a little Asana task with the poll options and copy that just pops up on the day, I'm like, every time I'm like, thank God for this. Yeah, big fan. So I think that's like most of our websites that we use most frequently. How about apps? Is there anything like on your phone which you really rely on?
We mentioned TikTok earlier in the episode, and while I feel like most individuals are across it, I'm not sure how many businesses, have ventured on there. But if you're one of the people who has, an app called Splice, which you can download on your iPhone, is a really great video editor app. You can set the dimensions. It doesn't even have to be for TikTok. Say you want to post, make a YouTube video, you want to make just like an Instagram square video, a story, that kind of thing. You can set your dimensions, and basically it's kind of like a little like iMovie on your phone, but with much better features than the iPhone iMovie. And I've been using it lately to create a few TikToks, to create a few reels for Instagram, and it's just been super helpful. Like you don't really have to know what you're doing to be able to just string some videos together. So if you're not across that, highly recommend.
That sounds cool. I use InShot occasionally, which is like another very easy to use one. I'm always like really shocked because like desktop video editors just are so intense, right? Like they're so slow to load. Like there's loads going on. Like no matter which supplier, I just always find they're either not very good functionality or really complicated and like takes a million years to render. Whereas like the ones you use on your iPhone do the same job in like
10 seconds, right? And also a lot of desktop video editors don't allow you to create like portrait videos, which I find so infuriating. Like it just won't give you an option to set the dimensions. So that's another little bonus.
Yeah. You guys actually made me think of a tip. Well, I haven't tried this out myself, so don't get mad if it doesn't work. But I heard on the grapevine through another social media manager, because obviously like not all accounts can use the music when you're on creating Instagram reels. Like you don't have that music library to choose from, which is very sad, but obviously I guess it's like copyright rules and yada yada yada. But I have a pal who is a social media manager for a brand, and what they do is they try it. So what they do is like their first go is like they try and upload the video with audio, like with a popular TikTok song or whatever, and if the clip's something like 15 seconds long or less, sometimes Instagram automatically picks up the audio and puts a sticker on the page like with the track, which is interesting, which then you are allowed to post because the audio is credited, which is just an interesting tip. I know it doesn't work all the time, it doesn't work for everyone, and if it doesn't work, I would err on the side of caution and like not post that clip. But just a little tip, worth a trick, like worth a try if you do want to like post a video with recognizable audio and not stock audio. We've all been there with that struggle. But yeah, Nicole, do you have any apps that you use?
Yeah, I mean, we have to mention like scheduling softwares, right? Like Sprout, for example. I know they're a website, but it's also an app. Those are just so important to any social media manager, I can imagine. Just having your posts laid out in front of you, when it's going to be posted. They also have other cool features, like the optimal time, so when it's best going to be seen. Any sort of community management stuff on there. They also have reports you can run. And like scheduling softwares are great. We use Sprout, and I know that's so useful for us. So definitely recommend having one of those if you're running not just multiple social media accounts, but even just one. Just having it all there is so useful.
Yeah, who wants to be like posting there and then on the day every day? Like nobody wants to do that. Save yourself some time. Get a scheduling software. Yeah. Schedule your posting throughout the whole month even.
Yeah.
If you can.
Exactly.
If you
Yeah.
have enough content to do it, do it. Just save yourself so much time and hassle.
As soon as you can
100%.
schedule stories, it's over. I swear. As soon as I add that, my life is
Can you
complete.
imagine? Just a little image of like heaven where we can just like, sit back and watch our Instagram stories go.
So, the app I recommend, and sometimes you, especially if you've got a number of clients who use Instagram, and you do a lot of community management on the platforms. You sometimes are quite annoying because you're limited to is it 5 accounts on Instagram? You're
believe
limited
so.
to be able to have access to at one time. So I use this app called Friendly, which then allows me to have more Instagram accounts on there. So, having access to more accounts, especially if you are doing community management regularly every day, saves you having to log in and out of other accounts to be able to add more accounts to Instagram. Like, use Friendly because, more accounts saves you more time, and all round all good.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Although, I don't know if I have a magical Instagram, but like I'm logged in currently to, I swear, at least like 10 accounts, and I don't know how I got so lucky. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
What?
10. Yeah, actually 10 in total. And basically, every time I log out, like every time I want to log into a new client's account, etc., I like hit add account, it's like you've hit the maximum. So then I log out, and I like select like 2 or 3 that I want to log out of, and but it doesn't get rid of them. Oh, I won't show you all my accounts, but embarrassing. But like it takes me out of them, but they're still there, and I just have to tap on them to next time I want to use them. And now there's like a list of like 10. I don't know what witchcraft that is, but
I swear, the worst thing is that you can't just, like, once you hit the maximum, you can't just log out. Like, you have to physically go and remove it from... Is that just me? Like, you have to remove
Yeah,
it
they
from
make
the
it so
app.
hard.
Such a nightmare.
Yeah.
So I'm downloading, what is it, Friendly? I'm on it.
does it like wind you guys up how many different versions of Instagram there seem to be? Like, it's not the same for like 2 people. Like, some people can use this feature, some people can use that feature. Like, I think it's frustrating, especially sometimes working, like, obviously in an agency, you have like clients, you're like, well, why can't I do that? And you're like, I just don't know. like now I've lost the ability on one of my accounts to like be able to share reels to story. Like one I can do it on, one I can't, and it's just like, I want to share those reels. Once again, I want to share the dog reels, you know what I mean?
The same as Facebook. There's so many different like interfaces out there. Like, there's literally thousands, and everyone has something different
Yeah.
at a time. Like, sometimes I'll have on my Facebook, for example, I'll have like marketplace come up on like the little icons at the bottom, or sometimes I'll have groups. But then next week I'll have games at the bottom on there, even though I never use games. It's just so random.
Well, guys, I think that is all we've got time for today. Thank you so much for sharing your tips, tricks, and tools with me. And obviously all of our listeners, thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss our next episode. You can also, of course, connect with us on all major social channels. Let us know what you thought about today's episode, what's in your social media toolbox, which we didn't mention. We would love to know if you can save our lives with a life hack. We would love you forever, I'm sure. We've been Giraffe Social Media. You've been amazing. We will see you next time.